Hey guys, it's JHC back with another video, and today we're going to show how to make a perfect line when you're doing a feature wall or any sort of corner cut that you want perfect and straight. I've always dealt with that. I try to use a brush and it's never as straight, or I've run into problems when you try to use tape. It peels off the previous wall that you just painted. So today I'm going to be using frog tape. This is from Cloverdale. You can get it at any paint retailer like Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, Dulux Paint. It is on the pricier side. It's, I believe, a roll's around $20, I think. But when you're doing a feature wall, it's very important that the lines are really straight. So let's jump into it. So the first thing you're going to do is obviously you want to tape, and the trick is on the corner that you're trying to make straight, you want to make sure that that's firmly on the wall, because a lot of other tapes you use, it'll leak through, and that's what you don't want to happen, because then you're going to end up having to touch up the wall that you just painted. You want it to be a perfect, crisp, straight line. So we're going to go ahead. Sorry, I don't have a close-up for you guys, but if you guys can see, you don't want to do the entire thing, obviously because your arms aren't long enough. So you want to just take a strip and you're going to put it on the side that has already been painted. And you're going to basically want to, whatever line the tape makes is what it's going to look like. So you want to make it perfect. And you want to put it just on that corner. And you see, as I'm not pushing on here, I'm going to push on the inside. I'm going to run my finger to make sure that that's perfectly on. So obviously once top, you just continue to the bottom. And also too, when you're doing your seams, you don't want to have it zigzagged at all, or like, how do you explain? Or overlapping something else, because it's going to show when you take off the tape. So you want to make it perfectly straight when you put it on. And the reason why this does take a while is because once you put the paint on, there's no going back. So once again, run your finger. And then once you're done, I would recommend just running your finger all the way, just to make sure, because you don't want to have any air bubbles, because that's where your paint's going to seep in behind. And the one thing too to make your life a lot easier making the line is when you do paint this, or let's say this wall's already done, let's say it's not, but you always want to see how my paint came over. You want to overlap that, so then you can make your straight line, because if you don't and try to cut it and then do the tape after, then you're gonna have to follow the line that was already made. So next step, once this is already done, you're gonna do it one more time just to be safe. You're gonna have your paint. Today I'm using a Woodster 2.5 inch. A lot of people use 3 inch, but I'm not a fan of 3 inch. I think it creates too many lines and it's too much paint to handle. So you're gonna have your ladder again. And so the way I look at it is I do one heavy coat with the tape on, and then right after, about, 30 seconds after, I'll pull off the tape. And of course, I don't just do one coat, you do 2 coats, but you want to put it heavy where that tape line is. So then once you pull it off, because you don't want to leave this tape on, you want to take it off as soon as you can so it doesn't stick to this. And then so basically right after you do that, you take the tape off, and you're gonna have a thick cut there, and then on your second cut, you're just gonna go close to that edge. Obviously you're gonna touch it, but you're not gonna need tape because it's already gonna be perfectly straight. So let's get into the paint part. And hopefully this angle you guys can see. So as you see, I put it decently heavy. And I'm not talking about heavy on this, I'm just talking about right where that tape line is. You want it heavy because you're going to be taking the tape off. Just like that. And you always want to make sure that you feather out your lines. You don't want to leave those heavy, ugly lines. So, this is what it looks like when it's done. And obviously, don't worry about the baseboard cuts. I'm doing baseboards after, just so if you do see them. So basically, this is where you're at. And the reason why you don't want to leave it is because it's going to build, and because it's latex paint, it's elasticy, and you don't want it to dry because when you go to pull that off, it's now stuck to the tape, and you're basically just going to pull off majority of what you just put on. So that's why I recommend not leaving it. Or if you do forget about it and you leave it, make sure you cut down that line. Just a light cut, you don't have to like dig in with the knife, just to make sure that it cuts off all that band from the tape. Anyway, so we're gonna pull it off now, and I'll show you. And whatever way that you put it on, you wanna go opposite. Because if I went from the bottom, it would pull off the strips that I put on, but since I go to the top, since I overlapped my tape lines, it's gonna all come off at once. Which, that's the goal. Usually, if it's too much and I don't want to damage anything, I just use a knife just to dig it out a little bit. Perfect. So as you see going down, there's no paint that got underneath, and that's because I made sure to always push it down. And you always want to pull in a downward motion, like I am, not like this. You always want to feel it going down, and not fast at all. Just as you see how slow I'm going, this is perfect speed. And any sort of hiccup on that side is a lot easier to touch up this way than it is free cutting it. Perfect. So as you see, you got a nice straight line. At the end of the day, you can always spend as long as you want making that tape line perfect, straight, but at the end of the day, tape is always the straightest line you can get, other than a laser. You cannot get this way with a freehand cut, so whatever tape line you make is always going to be straighter. So I recommend doing it this way, and I get all my products from Cloverdale Paint, as I'm in Canada. I don't believe that's in the States. Their paint is one of the best I've ever used, and yeah. Awesome, well thanks for watching this video, and I appreciate your time, and thanks. Watch more.